just want people to know that we're people as well. We are also scared. We don't want to get sick. It doesn't mean that you should single us out for something that really wasn't our fault.
Warning: information presented in this vlog may be considered distressing material. The clip you just saw is one of many surfacing the internet right now as the coronavirus spreads across the world. Many Asian Americans are being blamed for not only the origin of the virus, but also for the spreading that has caused mass panic throughout the world and many shutdowns of events, schools, employment services, and more. Now, this woman is sharing her experience in public, and we will also be sharing more clips throughout this video as we discuss the violence and discrimination being experienced by Asian Americans during this time. The Office of Community Engagement and Diversity Initiatives at Nevada State College would like to take this week to increase awareness about the violence that Asian Americans are experiencing during this time, as they are being blamed for both the origin and the spread of COVID-19. They are being publicly harassed, bullied in schools, and also cyberbullied online on social media. Many small businesses throughout Las Vegas, as well as the rest of the country, are being forced to shut down at this time due to lack of customers. This is also impacting our economy on a greater scale because our unemployment rate is at an all-time high, whereas the money that we're putting back into our economy is very low due to people not having jobs or income at this time. We will also be discussing how full-blown racism has evolved from prejudice towards Asian Americans and how implicit biases have created conversations surrounding the quote-unquote Chinese virus that some of our legislatures are using to reference the coronavirus when speaking about the dangers. Feel free to share your experience or perspective below, but make sure to be respectful.
Hi everyone, it's Nayeli. So, according to the CDC, being of Asian American descent doesn't increase the chance of getting or spreading the COVID-19 virus. But people are still being prejudiced and racist against Asian Americans. The coronavirus and the stigma behind it has been impacting our lives in so many ways, but it's especially been impacting the AAPI community. Their businesses are being affected, their daily lives are being affected, and as a result of these prejudiced beliefs, we've seen an increase in hate crimes. The coronavirus appears to be frightening so many people that they're buying guns as protective measures. At gun stores across the United States, Americans are stocking up in enormous numbers.
Sales at a North Carolina gun store have increased by 10% since late February, with more than 300 firearms being sold each week. Online websites are also noticing an increase, with ammo.com for one, who reported a 68% increase in sales in late February compared to early February. Some gun stores, both physical and online, have even resorted to scare tactics, such as labeling their products Coronavirus Preparedness Kit.
Why is this happening though? Why are people buying so many guns and ammunition? One reason is because for some people, having a gun or stocking up on ammunition is a form of short-term security. Many buyers want to be ready in case there's a panic or if something goes way wrong, and they're able to protect themselves. Some people compare it to having an extinguisher at their house, even if you plan on not using either. The world has never seen anything like this, and that scares a lot of people, and for them, buying guns and ammunition and stocking up on those things help make them feel like they're in control. The coronavirus also gave rise to a nasty display of xenophobia.
Every disease that ever came from China, homie. Everything comes from China. It's disgusting.
The AAPI community not only has to worry about not contracting the virus and taking the right precautions.
This man came up to me and he said, "Trump says all Asians have coronavirus, you disgusting."
but they also have to worry about the hate crimes that are happening in their communities. They're facing both verbal and physical attacks every day out on the streets and in their own homes at times. In interviews conducted by New York Times, nearly a dozen Asian American families said that they feel unsafe going out, whether it was going to the grocery store or even going outside of their home. They're scared. In New York, a man even set up a Facebook group to help Asian Americans who need to travel by subway to be able to find a buddy to go with. That way they're not traveling alone. As a result of all these hate crimes Asian Americans are facing right now, they've decided to go ahead and buy firearms and ammunition to help protect themselves. Regardless of the reason you're buying a gun, you have to make sure that you know how to use it and properly care for it. It just sucks to see that we have to resort to purchasing firearms because of how scary things are getting.
As you see throughout the vlog, there are several people out there in the world right now that are experiencing discrimination and racism on many different levels. There's a lot of ignorance surrounding the coronavirus itself. For example, I was waiting in the pharmacy line at CVS, and this was an older woman, and she had a walker, and she coughed one time out in the air, and a black woman walked past her, and she immediately started screaming at her, like, "Don't cough like that." They go back and forth. Meanwhile, another black woman approaches from the right side of the situation after the situation has kind of boiled down and says to me, "Oh, don't worry about that virus. We can't get that virus. Black people can't get that. That's a white people and Chinese people virus." And I just thought to myself, like, wow. That's why we need to be educated and informed about what's going on in the world and how the virus can actually affect us, instead of making assumptions that people may have it, or that people are spreading it, or that you yourself are immune to it.
This is a call to action. We have to confront and recognize the racism that has been happening within our society, with what Trump has been saying in the media about the virus.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate. Yeah, please, John, please.
And to the countless videos of people just being blatantly racist.
It's disturbing and disheartening.
If you are from China, I'm surprised they even let you over here.
We have to counteract by helping one another, by supporting one another, by speaking out if you see something, or if it's even something small as a microaggression, whether it's someone moving away from someone who is of Asian descent. It's important that we maintain our level of community in times like these. It's important to remember that we aren't alone.
Let's talk about implicit bias really quickly. Implicit bias typically comes from our subconscious. It's not usually something we're aware of until we verbalize a thought that we have. It usually is our initial reaction to something before we sort it out in our heads, process it, and sometimes filter it. This can also come from suppressed thoughts that we may have about a group. Maybe we don't want to believe that we think that way about that group. People naturally, us humans, we tend to judge others quickly. Our natural way of thinking is to identify and to categorize. Those are two things that we do automatically in our brains when we see someone. The reason that it's so important to be aware of our implicit biases is because when those thoughts that have been tucked away in our subconscious rise to the surface and become our conscious thoughts, and we then act on those conscious thoughts, this is when we can be a danger to other groups. Asian Americans during this time, they are being victimized because they are being blamed for the virus itself. And in public, people are shaming them, people are yelling expletives at them, people are attacking them and beating them, sometimes to death.
This car vandalized in California. The language too disturbing to show you. And the Chandy family is devastated. Anna, in tears, forced to explain to her child what the racial slurs mean.
Why are they being racist to us? We don't even have the coronavirus.
And then there's this video, posted to Facebook, now part of an NYPD hate crime investigation.
So move. Move.
The video, horrifying. An Asian American minding his own business as a total stranger berates him before spraying him with Febreze.
This is one of the reasons why Asian Americans specifically are taking to buying guns to protect themselves during this time, because they do not feel safe in public any longer. Now, we've seen this happen with other groups. For example, after 9/11, when everyone was so afraid of one group, when everyone didn't even know what group they were supposed to be afraid of. They were afraid of an image that was created by the media and then perpetuated by society. But we are being brainwashed into thinking that we have to be afraid of that group. We are kind of programmed to hate this group, even though we know very little about them, and we probably have not had much exposure to them in general. That fear comes from implicit biases and then escalates into prejudice, to stereotypes, and racism, which we all know can look very nasty in the end.
Asian-owned businesses have been impacted greatly across the United States. If this continues for the next few months, a lot of these businesses aren't going to be able to open up again, which is very unfortunate because a lot of these businesses were doing great. It's truly unfair that a lot of these businesses are going out of business because of racism. Before the city made it so that all non-essential businesses had to be closed and some businesses were still open, a lot of the Asian American owned businesses were being ignored. A lot of people weren't going to Chinese restaurants, they weren't going to any Asian owned restaurant, they weren't going to any Asian businesses. Both locals and tourists were avoiding Asian Americans in general. A lot of businesses had to shut down because it was not financially smart for them to remain open when there was no one coming through to their business. Some businesses, like restaurants, have pushed their carry out or delivery options. Other businesses have implemented gift card options so that they can buy a gift card now and use it later in the future when things go back to normality. That way they're able to get some income during this hard period of time. We've seen other businesses also affected. For example, if a Chinese restaurant is no longer open, that also impacts the produce suppliers or the people who they got seafood from. It affects everyone, especially here in Las Vegas. Given that our economy comes from tourism and the entertainment industry, it's hard for us to see hotels, charter bus companies, tourism companies, all of the casinos on the strip mostly closed. But for me, what hurts the most is seeing these Asian American owned businesses run from generations through families being affected. Now you might be thinking, what is our community doing to help those businesses hold themselves up during this uncertain time? With the help of the Asian Community Development Council, the Small Business Administration was able to implement an economic disaster relief program. This is a loan program that is available to Nevada's small business owners, allowing them to apply for low-interest 30-year loan. If you want more information, you can visit sba.gov/disaster or give them a call at 702-388-6611.
I'm Lorenzo Luna. See you again next week.
If you were affected by this vlog at all, or if you were experiencing difficulty mentally or emotionally, please refer to the documents in the video. We will have links to these documents and these websites in our description. This is the UNLV police website, which goes over their hate crime policy, as well as some tips on how to protect yourself and descriptions of what a hate crime is and how to report it. This website, which will also be linked in the description, is used to report incidents against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, or the AAPI community. If you are an NSC student, you are still able to access free counseling from All About You. Please schedule an appointment using the number on the screen. And if you would like information about any community resources, please contact our NSC case manager, Laura. Thanks for watching. Remember to tune in on Friday, April 3rd for our special presentation by our CDI director, Dr. Pao Vu. Once again, thank you to the marketing team at Nevada State College for helping us get this on our online platform. Feel free to share your thoughts on the video below, but remember to be respectful.